Hey everybody, welcome back. It is week 15 of this year, so we have our 15th writing prompt. And as I said last week when April began, all of the prompts this week this month are going to be inspired by different writing challenges that are available to us this month. And the big deal about April is that April is in fact National Poetry Month. So of course I have to have something that's poetry inspired or poetry leaning or even challenging you to write poetry. So there's one tool that I've used for years. We've actually discussed it two other times in this YouTube series, and that is the Writer's Toolbox by Jamie Cat Callan. And it comes with three different games. One that I call the Sticks, one that is the Protagonist game, and the third is the Sixth Sense cards. And they're coming up today because the Sixth Sense cards always remind me of poetry, and I think you'll see why in a moment. The game is pretty simple. We have this deck of cards, and they all have very sensory type phrases on them. Just to give you an example, it is very hard for me to read that backwards. Does it say $5 left on the table? It's like a visual. Or that one's totally upside down. I should look at it before I show you. The barefoot waif. Okay, so it's an entire deck of cards of just phrases like this. And the way that Jamie runs the game is simply that you shuffle the deck of cards and you select three of them, place them face down on the table in front of you, and then you set a timer to write for 3 minutes per card. So we're going to run this kind of the way we did with the sticks, where I'm going to give you the first card and then recommend that you pause and write for 3 minutes. And then I will show you the second card and you will pause, set a timer for 3 minutes. And then I will show you the third card and you will pause and write for 3 minutes. Now, it is Poetry Month. It would be great if you spent those 3 minutes to try to construct poetry inspired by these prompts. But if you are moved to write a short story, then be my guest. This is my poetry themed week because this always leads me down the road of poetry. But if that doesn't suit your needs, so be it. By the way, I didn't mention this, but you may be wondering what's going on here. A friend of mine here in Staten Island, as soon as all of this stuff started happening with the stay-at-home, made an announcement online, and she said, since every single day is going to be Corona casual, why don't we have a thing called Formal Fridays? So for the last couple of weeks on Friday, at least for a couple of hours, we've been getting dressed, taking pictures, and saying it's Formal Friday. So I figured I would come do the video in my formal wear today for you in case you wanted something to change up your stay-at-home time. It's kind of funny, and yeah, my son is enjoying wearing his ties all day. I keep changing very quickly. He wants to be in this all day, which is adorable. Okay, so here are three cards. I'm not going to show you what they are now. I'm going to lay them down on the table in front of me, the Sixth Sense cards, and selecting your first card. I'm going to read it before I put it up there. And now this is very sensory. The smell of peach pie. So right now I would say pause and write for 3 minutes on the smell of peach pie. And when you have done that, your second card will be a yellow bus. And again, I would say pause for 3 minutes, write about a yellow bus. And when you've done that, your third card is a man selling bananas. This is kind of part prompt, part free write. So hopefully you have enjoyed this exercise. what you do with this now, if you want to take these 3 cards and then make them into something else, that is completely up to you. But I do like the idea of running through the cards in the way that Jamie recommends, at least as a first run. So your cards were the smell of peach pie, a yellow bus, and a man selling bananas. And you have whatever it is that you wrote for those 3 minutes. It is now up to you to decide if that is going to be 1 short story, 1 poem, 3 poems, 3 short stories. I can't wait to see what you guys come up with, but hopefully this inspired some real sensory writing, tapping into the smell of peach pie, got our smell, thoughts on smell, sense. The yellow bus was very visual, and the man selling bananas could be visual or taste, depending on which way you went with it. This is what I love about these cards. So this is the Writer's Toolbox from Jamie Cat Callan. Again, now we finished all of the games that Jamie has in the box. I highly recommend it. I'll put a link in the doobly-doo so that you can grab one up for yourself. And also I will share a link to NaPoWriMo, which is National Poetry Writing Month, which is going on right now. So you can join up and share poems with fellow poets if you so wish. Otherwise, have a great week. Thank you so much for tuning in. Another great game to check out is Storymatic, and that's all the Storymatic games are Storymatic Classic, Storymatic Kids, Rememory, and they have a new game that I still haven't even had a chance to check out, which is Synapsis. All can be found on Storymatic's website, but the reason why I'm mentioning them today is because this week's episode of Stop Writing Alone was my interview with Brian Mooney, the creator of Storymatic, and it was really such a great conversation. So I will put a link to that video right here on the screen for you to click on and check out if you want to listen to the podcast here in YouTube. Otherwise, you can go to wherever you listen to podcasts and type in Stop Writing Alone, and that would be episode 65, the interview with Brian Mooney. Until next week, happy writing.